Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on sales performance management. My name is Arul, and I'm a pre-sales engineer with Zoho, and I'm going to walk you through the webinar today on how sales can be increased with the help of sales performance management tools. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask any of your questions using the questions option under Go to Webinar Control Panel. We have our support engineers who will be answering all your questions. So again, the agenda for today is going to be, we're going to look at what Salesforce Performance Management or SPM is, how SPM or Salesforce Management can be used to support the growth of your business, and the tools available within your CRM software to boost sales, their use and their usage with the help of demos. And finally, we'll also have a question and answer session as well. All right, so what is sales performance management? Now, sales performance management or SPM is the practice of monitoring and guiding personnel or your sales reps to improve their ability to sell products and the services that you offer. So, they are tools in addition to what's available or the features or functionality that's available in your typical CRM software to increase your sales by tackling the problems that would block the way to success along with means of improving the way you sell your products. Right? So, why would you want to use or why would you need the sales performance management tools or the SPM? Now, no, we understand that managing a team can be a challenge. We do understand that, but as a sales manager, it's your responsibility to motivate your team, your sales reps, and make sure that they have the resources that they need to reach their goals. But do you really need it? So it helps you to motivate your sales reps. It also helps you to track and manage your team, and also helps you to get to set goals and plan accordingly. Give feedback to them, use it to develop their skills, and also review their performances. Now, the sales people need to be motivated to reach their goals and satisfy the customers. So Forbes says that 42% of employees quit because of work stress. Now, how do you combat this? You probably create targets, give them incentives for the work they do, or when your team reaches the targets, and so on, and give your team feedback as needed. And your team is the most important asset. But if they are not performing their best, they get demotivated. So it's important to manage the progress of your team and make those results available to them. So SPM or sales performance management that helps you to track information about sales quotas, territories, incentive compensation, job evaluation, and forecasting. And finally, SPM software is used in goal setting and planning, feedback, skill development, and performance review. Now, e-learnings feeds ran a survey to find out what motivates employees. Most employees mentioned that they want to work in a fun environment. So you can see 90% of them said that work needs to be fun and engaging. And secondly, they want to get recognized for their efforts. So 83% of them said recognition matters for them. And finally, they need room for growth. So again, 76% said that they need growth in whatever job they're doing. So the SPM tools does exactly that. So what does Zoho CRM need to offer in this? Now, Zoho CRM is packed with tools designed to support your role as a sales manager. Now, it's hard enough managing a team by yourselves, but when you have the right tools in the right place that can help you organize the team, motivate your team, and reach your goals, it will support the entire business process. All right, let's take a look at some of the ways Zoho CRM supports your role. Now, the first feature that's going to be available is territory management in Zoho CRM. Now, a team management can face many barriers like managing different sales reps for different regions, collaboration among different regions or each region, assigning the right sales reps and personnel at the right place, treating each region with a personal touch, and so on. That's why we have territory management, a hierarchy tool to help managers break down customers and sales reps into territories and manage them efficiently. Now, breaking regions into territories lets you easily share accounts among territories, identify regions that make the highest revenue, allocate the right reps to the right location to make reporting an easier process. So you can also use it to distribute work so that no one is over or underworked by setting up assignment rules. So you can see which team is doing what as performance insights are available with a click of a button. You can also set targets for each territory depending on how each one does. So you can also review forecasts, your revenues specific to each territory. And this particular feature is going to be available only in the enterprise edition of Zoho CRM. To put it very simple, territory management is where you can set up different hierarchy levels and how you can also define how you're going to be sharing records among different users. Now, basically in Zoho CRM, by default, the records are going to be shared based on the roles, the hierarchy level that you set up within the organization. And that is going to be dependent on the ownership of the records. So every record needs to have an owner, and based on the hierarchy that you set up and who the record is assigned to, certain people have access to certain records in the system. Now, if you want to overwrite that or do away with that and you want to create territories based on any field value or any other criteria, and you want to share records based on that particular field value other than the ownership of records, then you can go ahead and use the territory management feature. Now here again, this will override the roles that you might have already created, and territories need not be only based on the region. It could be any field value, it could be the product line, it could be the region, the geographic location of the accounts, it could be the industry or any other field value. So we'll just have a demo of how you can create territories and how you will be able to see the records across multiple territories and so on. So when you are in your Zoho CRM account, this is how your Zoho CRM account looks like. So if you go to setup on the top right, now by default under security control, you have roles, which is the hierarchy level that you want to set up within your CRM account. Now this is how the data is going to be shared. If you had seen some of our previous webinars, you would have noticed how the records are being shared from the top to the bottom. The bottom to the top, where the account manager will not be able to see any records of the sales reps, or the sales reps will not be able to see any records that have been assigned to the president. But the CEO, who's at the topmost of the hierarchy, will have access to all the records that have been assigned to all the other users in the other roles. And this is going to work only if it's going to work only based on the ownership of records. Now, if you want to override that and say you don't want to share records based on the ownership, but you want to share records based on the geographical location of the accounts or the companies or organizations you're going to be dealing with, or if you want to be sharing records based on any other field value, like the industry or the product line or anything of that sort, you can go ahead and create territories. Now, if there is under users and control section, you also have the territory management as a feature. So if you go to territory management, you can see that I've created two territories. The first one is the organization that's provided by default, and then I've created two other territories. One is the Eastern region and the other one is the Western region. And if you look at the Eastern region, I've made a particular user the territory manager, so that person will be responsible for that particular territory. And you can add multiple users as well to that particular territory by adding users. So you can say who all belongs to that territory and who all has access to the records that fall under that particular territory. And you can also provide them with read-only permissions or read and write or delete permissions. So you can just say if they're not the owner of that particular record, they can only view those records, or if they have complete permission over those records, even though they're not the owner of the records. And then here, the records are going to be based on the industry. So any record or any account record that's going to be marked as large industry will fall under that particular territory. Now there's another territory that I've created, which is the Western region territory. And here again, there's another territory manager, and you can again add users if you want to that particular territory. And I've given the same read, write, delete permissions. And here it's another criteria where the industry is naturals. So since I've created two different territories, if you want to create another territory or a sub territory for the territory that's already been created, you can go ahead and create a sub territory. Or if you want to create a new territory altogether, you can click on new territory, provide the territory name, make a specific user the manager, and again provide the read, write, delete options and choose the criteria. And you can see here when you're trying to select the criteria, all the field values in the account module are going to be listed. So any field value can be applied here so that records which meet that particular criteria will be added to that specific territory. So this is how you go ahead and create territories. And the territory rules, again, you're looking at the rule, which is the criteria that you've set up. And if you want to assign territories, you can search territories by a specific criteria and start assigning records to that specific territory as well. Now, once you've created this territory, I'll just show you how that would work within the potentials or the accounts module. So if you go to a specific account, if you select all territories and all accounts, which means that it's going to include all the records that belong to all the territories that you might have created and all the accounts. And if I select the total count, you can see there are 1,427 records. Now, from this, if I want to see only records that belong to a specific territory, which is the Eastern region, I select Eastern region, and I want to see all the accounts in the Eastern region. In that scenario, there are only 101 records. So which means it's filtering out records based on the territory. And you can see the first one, the Eastern region that we set up, was for large enterprise, and only records in the large enterprise are listed in this particular view. No other records will be listed in this territory. Similarly, if I choose Western region, only the records that where the industry is marked as naturals will be listed here. And the total count here is 100, which means that only there are 100 records that are the industry, as mentioned as naturals, which belong to this particular territory. And apart from once you've selected the territory, if you want to create your own custom views, you want to see only today's accounts in that particular Western region and so on, it will apply the filter accordingly. Now what this does is, if you go to the potentials, which is the deals module, or the opportunities, and you want to see only potentials or opportunities that belong to a specific territory, you just select the Eastern region territory and all the potentials. You can see all the potentials that are associated to that particular region. But if you want to see only the potentials that are expected to close this month and that belong to the Eastern region territory, you can choose the view which says closing this month, and only the records that belong to this particular territory or region will be listed here. Now, if you look at both these accounts, for example, I open American Hospital, I get into that specific account record and look at the industry. You can see the industry is large enterprise and it belongs to the Eastern region. So that's why you see the Eastern region here. Similarly, the other account will also be under that particular territory. So this is how you sort your records and view your records accordingly. And this will also help you in your forecasting under the forecasting module. So you have forecast as a separate module. And as you create your opportunities, they'll all be listed here under various territories. So you can see the Western region, the target is 5,000. You've still not achieved anything, but you've got a pipeline of 5,000. And your total target is 150,000. And if you want to drill down, you can click on drill down option. So you see the individual target for each territory. So for Eastern region, you've set a target of 90,000. And for the Western region, you've set a target for 60,000. Eastern region, they've achieved 10,000 and they have a potential of 5,000. So it says how much you've achieved in percentage and how much you're in shortage in percentage, the pipeline shortage. Similarly, the Western region as well. And you have another potential or an opportunity that does not belong to any territory, which means that it's not part of any of those two territories. The industry is some other value. So that is also there. So like this, you will be able to go ahead and forecast for the entire team, and you can run reports based out of the territories as well. So if you have any questions, again, we have our support engineers on who are providing chat support. You can use the questions option on your go to webinar control panel and ask your questions, and they will answer all your questions. All right. So the next tool that's available is called Gamescope, Sales the Fun Way. Now, sales is always interesting, but the activities that make up a sale can become monotonous even for the best sales reps. So, what Gamescope is a gamification tool that gives your users the much needed break from the routine work that they do every day. The feature uses activities from your sales pipeline and turns it into a game. That way, not only does work get done, but it's fun as well. These games can be started by any user. It's not necessary that the manager needs to start it. Any user who has the option to pick their own opponents, either against teammates or even as a group. Now, managers don't have to spend the time initiating the games, but they can always choose to play along with the sales team as well. In the background, we have badges that are daily updated with preset criteria, so a user can compete with their biggest competitor, which can be themselves at sometimes. You can also make custom trophies and badges to encourage your team to focus on the activities that matter to your business. Your team's naturally competitive nature is revived, and the goals become fun obstacles and complete instead of targets pushed onto employees. So it gives working a positive twist. And this particular feature, Gamescope, is available starting the professional edition of the CRM. So it's available in the professional and the enterprise edition of Zoho CRM. So now we'll have a look at how this gamification works. So within Zoho CRM, if you go to setup, you have the Gamescope option under general. So if we go to Gamescope, we provided some default trophies and badges, and again, it entirely depends on a specific criteria. What you want to track. So you can see it's based on the number of leads that have been converted on the same day. So you want to give 10 points for each lead that's been converted on the same day. Similarly, tasks completed. If they are completed on time, you give 10 points, and if they are overdue, which means they miss out on the task, you want to reduce 5 points. The potential is 1. Every time somebody closes or marks a potential as closed one, you want to give 10 points. And if it's overdue, which means that it goes beyond the closing date, you want to reduce 5 points and so on. So again, you've set it up, and if you want to add a new trophy here, you can just add a new trophy and select a module and choose the action, whether the lead needs to be converted or created, edit or convert. And you can provide the criteria applies for each record, and you can provide any criteria as you want for each record as well. So like this, you can go ahead and create different trophies, and you also have badges. So you can say if someone converts 5 leads within one day, on the same day they convert 5 leads, you want to give them a badge and so on. So you created these are all the default ones, and you can add your own badge as well. So any user, if they want to go ahead and look at the games that they're part of, or if they want to initiate a game, you have an icon on the top right for gamification. You click on the gamification, and here you can start a new game. It's going to take back. It can be an individual game that you want to set a goal for yourselves, or among group of users as well. and you can add individual users to the individual games. And you can provide the start date. So start date is today, whatever time, and you can provide the finish time as well. And you can also set up repeating this game every day or every week or every month for the next n number of days, and provide the game name and save it. And you can see all the challenges that are part of this particular game that you want to set up. So the ones that you've created here can be applied to the new game. And each user, when they want to see their achievements, can go ahead and see their achievements here and look at how many badges they won as well, and how much time is left for them to win those badges. Now, if you go back to the leads module, so for example, if you're converting a lead, so you can see that there is a lead that I'm going to convert now. And you can see at the bottom right hand corner here, you will have a notification once you've converted the lead. So you click on convert. You can see lead champ, great work, 4 more leads to go, and that badge is yours. So if I convert the second one, it's going to say 3 more leads to go, and so on. Now if I go back to the gamification section, and if I look at my badges, it says 1 lead has been converted, 4 more to go, and I've got 17 more hours because it's a daily game that I've set up. So in a day, I need to be converting a minimum of 5 leads to get that badge. Similarly, note champ, entering a minimum of 50 notes. So if I go back to any record and I enter a note here, say called and left a voice message, and save it, I go back to notification, gamification, look there, 1 note has been added. So once I enter 50 notes for that day, I'll get that badge as well. And based on this, you can look at your own positions. You can look at all your games and see, what position you are in, what position the other users are in. So this is gamification for you. All right. Now the third tool is called Motivator, that motivate your teams the data-driven way. Again, this is very similar to Gamescope, but this is a separate tool altogether, right? So the reason being, a sales isn't a one-step process. It is made of numerous activities, so it's not enough to manage just sales, but also these activities need to be managed individually. So Zoho Motivator is a sales activity management tool, is an add-on built solely for Zoho CRM. It works by turning your CRM data into valuable business insights and sheds light on key issues. So all the metrics you need are available in dashboards, customizable to add the metrics that matter to your business. Once you know how well you're doing, you can set targets to attain goals you'd like your team to work on. So targets can be set for any period of time, so you can even ration out your quota for the year. Contests can be made to give your teammates a reason to fulfill these targets. They can even have a prize of cash or kind to make it worthwhile. And Motivator TV, which is a broadcasting tool that can be used to showcase a contest, the revenue that's being generated, or any other insight you feel will encourage your team. And as I told you, Motivator is sold as a separate product with free and paid edition. So even if you are in the free edition of Zoho CRM, you can purchase Zoho Motivator separately, and you can purchase Zoho Motivator with any of the other paid editions that you might currently have. And you don't have to necessarily acquire the same number of user licenses that your CRM has, and you can add only the users whose metrics you'd like to concentrate on. So even if you have, let's say, 10 users in Zoho CRM or 20 users in Zoho CRM, you don't have to purchase all 10 user licenses for Motivator. If you want to just track 5 or 6 users, their performance and their metrics, you can just purchase that package with Zoho Motivator. So let's just have a demo of Zoho Motivator. As I told you, it's a separate tool that needs to be purchased. So you have to log into a different tab on your browser. Go to motivator.zoho.com. So this is how your Motivator homepage is going to look. Now, what you see here, each of these boxes are what's called key performance indicators. So it's KPI is what we call, and you can look at all the KPIs that you've set up. Some of the KPIs are provided by default, and you can see the default KPIs in the dashboards. The dashboards are the different, you can see multiple data on a single page. So you can see the default KPIs. The pipeline velocity is it indicates how quickly opportunities are moving through the sales pipeline on their way to becoming closed won deals. So you can also see how a pipeline velocity is defined by us. It's based on the open potentials multiplied by the win rate, the how much percentage of deals you're closing, plus the deal size, which is the amount, multiplied by the month, divided by the entire sales length from the day the lead was created to the day it was marked as closed won. Right, so you can see the actual velocity here. If you want to see the open potentials, it will show the open potentials against the velocity, that the average velocity that you have. So how many potentials you've created based on the velocity. Similarly, the win rate as well. Now these are auto-populated from your CRM data. And you also have the pipeline stages. So it clearly shows you how your deals are going through the various stages in your sales cycle. You can see here that qualification, it was there for 1 day, and then it did not go to any other stage but directly went to closed won from qualification. And similarly, you can drill it down to this month or any other specific data. So if you want to go back to the first of this year and look at the data for that particular, for this year, you can see the number of days, the average number of days for qualification and so on. So from this data, you can see that value proposition is not a stage where the records go to or the deals go through. They go to needs analysis, and from there they directly go to the decision makers. So this is probably one of the stages that you don't need. You probably want to remove this stage from your sales cycle, and you want to just have a shorter sales stage. So this data gives you that information. Right? Now, if you can set different targets for your team, and you want to manage, you can go ahead and create different targets. You can see the scoreboard of each and every user. You want to add a target, you click on leads created. It could be based on any other KPI that you might have created. If it's based on sales, you want to see the daily sales or weekly sales, or bi-weekly, monthly, etc. Click on next. So you can choose the personal target for yourselves. So I say 5,000. So for entire company, you can set up a target for each team as well. If you have multiple users added to your system or your motivator, you'll have these two activated. Or you can even choose individual users and set up users with targets, etc. And once you save it, the target will be saved. And you'll also be able to see the personal target how many you've got to complete or how many you have completed individually, or each user will be able to log in and see that. And similarly, after targets, once you set the targets, you can create contests. So you can create a contest where it could be based on the sum of records created or the revenue generated or the average and so on. So you click on next, you choose the behavior, which is based on, let's say, the potentials, which is the opportunities. So if you select the option here, the point computation is points per record, or uses records amount as points. So which means that as the sales reps create different opportunities with various amounts for each opportunity, the amount will be summed up. So that will become the points that they get. And you can choose created in a period, which is created for this week or this day or this month, etc. And when do you want to give the points to the recipient? When they own the record, or when they create the record, or when they modify a specific record. I'm going to say when they own that particular record, which means they're the owner. And you can also set up rules. So CRM field, you can see I want to include only potentials that are greater than 5,000. So I don't want to use any other small deals. Any deal that's worth more than 5,000, I want to use that in the competition. And I save the behavior and I increase. So once I click on next, I'll be able to save that particular rule on the game or the contest, and I can add multiple users as well. I'm going to add everyone, save it, and you can add observers as well, or you can even select individual observers and click on next. So you've not defined any price. So if you want to add a price, you want to add a price, provide the name and the value as well. You want to give them $100 or $200. This is just to motivate your entire team. You can set up. Once you set that up, you can publish that on the Motivator TV as well. So this posted onto your television in your office. So it'll keep showing as the records are being created in the CRM, they'll be pushed into Motivator, and this will be published on the television. So this is Zoho Motivator. Again, to know more about Zoho Motivator, you can tune into the webinar happening on every second Wednesday of the month, where we discuss the capabilities of the product. So every second Wednesday is when the webinar on Zoho Motivator happens. And this month, the webinar is going to be on the 14th of December at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So it's 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, and 7 a.m. Pacific time. So it's on the 14th of November. 14th of December this month. And if you can't make it, you can just send an email to us, sales@zohocorp.com. I repeat, it's sales@zohocorp.com, and we'll get back to you with a recorded version of the same. All right. So today, the final tool that we're going to look at is the advanced CRM analytics. All right. So in order to plan the next step of your organization, you need all the details, and we know that not all your data is stored on a CRM database. That's where advanced CRM analytics takes over. Now, you might be using multiple tools, and you might have only data that's related to the CRM stored in the CRM, and you have other tools that you use where the other information are stored. What the advanced analytics for CRM allows you to do is you can upload your files from online or offline sources, which combines with your CRM data to get accurate analytics. Now, this is powered by Zoho Reports, which is another tool, and there are more than 100 plus default reports or dashboards that are automatically created through Zoho Reports. And these reports are handpicked, and they are pretty useful in analyzing your sales performance effectively. And reports are broadly time based, people based, and revenue based reports. And each report takes on a different perspective of your business to show you all the angles, and so you can plan ahead. You can share these analytics with your team so everyone is on the same page. And with this data, you get to see the big picture, where your company is and where it looks like going. So this advanced CRM analytics is available with an integration with Zoho Reports and Zoho CRM, and you can access this right from within Zoho CRM from the CRM homepage or from the reports module of Zoho CRM. All right, so we'll have a look at the demo of Zoho Reports now. So if you are logged into Zoho CRM, and if you want to go to the reports module of Zoho CRM, you have the option to create reports based out of the data that's available right within Zoho CRM. Or if you want to get high level reporting, or you want to include some other data from another database, then you can use the advanced CRM analytics. You can combine that data with the CRM data and generate the kind of reports that you need. But before you get here, you will have to set up the Zoho reports integration, and that's available under setup of Zoho CRM. Under the extension API section, you have Zoho option, and here is where you can see all the different integrations that Zoho CRM has got with the other tools of Zoho. And if you scroll down the page, you have advanced CRM analytics, which is powered by Zoho reports. When you click on manage, here is where you'll have to set up the integration. So you will have to choose which modules data you'd like to sync with Zoho reports. It's a pretty simple process. You just need to select which modules data you need to sync. Like, do you want to sync leads? Do you want to sync contacts, accounts, potentials, or any other module? So you can pick and choose which modules data needs to be synced with Zoho reports. And you can also choose in each module which field values need to be synced as well. So when you select contacts, you can also select which fields from the contacts module need to sync with Zoho reports. And once you've set that up, you can see this is how it would show that you've set up the integration. And if you want to access Zoho reports, you just go to the reports module and click on advanced CRM analytics, and it will open Zoho reports on a separate tab. And you can see here that I've currently integrated or synced the accounts, contacts, leads, potentials modules and the users modules. And you can see there are dashboards. These are all the default dashboards that are provided. So if you want to see the closed revenue dashboard, you just clicked on closed revenue, and you'll actually see the data from Zoho CRM being populated here. You want to see any data, you can look at this. And if you want to see what data has been synced from Zoho CRM into Zoho reports, you click on that specific module. If you see accounts, so these are all the data that have been synced. Similarly, if you choose contacts, so these are the fields that have been synced. So the entire data will be automatically synced. Similarly, leads, potentials, and the other modules as well. I have not selected any other module. I've just selected 4 modules. The users will be automatically selected as well. And from here, based on the data that you get, you can look at the different reports, like the sales reports. That again, these are the default reports that are provided. Sales funnel report is again the pipeline that you're building. And similarly, sales funnel data. Revenue for current and previous quarter, and so on. You can see the monthly sales report. You want to see the potential reports. You can see the other reports, like the estimated versus the expected revenue. pipeline this quarter, and so on. So this is potentials created date versus the current status. So these are all the default reports that are provided. Now, if you want to create a new report, it's again a pretty easy interface to create reports. All you need to do is just click on Create New on the top. And you want to create a new report, you can choose Create a New Report. And you can choose from whether you want to create a chart or a dashboard or a tabular view or a summary view or a pivot view. And the tabular, summary, and pivot, these are also the different types of reports that are available within Zoho CRM as well. If you want to create a chart, just choose Create a Chart. And you can choose which module it's going to be based out of. For example, I choose potentials and I click on OK. So I can choose how or what data needs to be on the x-axis and what data needs to be on the y-axis. Here I'm going to choose for x-axis, I'm going to choose the potential owner, the person who's actually creating the opportunities or the deals. And on the y-axis, I want to see the amount that each person is generating. And I want to see the sum of all the data. Or I can choose any of the other options, the maximum value or the minimum value or the average, the variance, and so on. And if I click here to generate graph, it will generate the graph based on the data. So you can see there are 4 sales reps and it's only one person who's generating most of the revenue. And if you want to use filters, you can drag a column here. And if you want to say choose create a time, and generate the data, you can see the actual data as well. And let's say I want to see the seasonal based on the months or the week or hour, or I can choose actual value for the year alone. I can apply filters like this. I want to see 2 years, I can select both 2015 and 2016 and select them like this. So any report that you generate and save, if you're looking at any dashboard or any report for that matter, you can export that report, you can email that report, and you can share it with the users, and you can also publish this on your website if you want to publish this on your website. And any report, if you want to see the underlying data that's part of that report, you just click on underlying data and you'll be able to see that. And you want to apply filters, you can apply filters based on the data that's provided. So again, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask your questions through the questions option on the GoToWebinar control panel, and our support engineers will be glad to answer them. All right, so that brings us to the end. This is what in 2015 Gartner had to say about Zoho. It said Zoho is a well-established vendor in the SPM field, in the Magic Quadrant of sales performance companies. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. I thank everyone for joining us as we looked at the benefits of the sales performance management and how it can support your overall business growth. Please don't hesitate to reach us out. If you have any questions, you can email us at sales@zohocorp.com, or you can call us at 877-834-4428. That's our sales team. And if you need help, you can visit that link. And if you need assistance with one of our partners, you can choose zoho.com/CRM/consultants if you feel your business process is a bit more complicated and you need professional assistance. And you can also share your comments on our Twitter handle @Zoho to leave a feedback on this particular webinar that you had, and also give your suggestions, and we'll be glad to put them in place. And thank you once again for listening. Thanks for joining, and have a wonderful day.